welcome to another edition of Thursday's Thought. As I said last week, I wasn't sure which way I was going to do this, but God has directed me, and I actually had a couple more incidents with this little buddy, and so I figured I'd throw in a couple more doggone truths in there. Just the other day, it was raining and stuff like that, and this little fella, he likes the rain if I'm walking out there and getting wet with him, of course. But as far as like the thunder and stuff, he likes to get real close to me. And I was just sitting there looking at him, and I said, "Aren't you so glad you listened to God when He told you to come out to me?" And some people say, it's just random that he was in that specific spot at that specific time in Kentucky, and we were in that specific spot during that specific time of year after he was born and left to somewhat survive on his own. The guy who owned the property, his brother was raising these little fellas for hunting, but he was the only survivor out of the litter. And he was pretty much on a survival game after, all the others had passed. They didn't see it valuable in trying to train just one. So we were out there hunting, and just so happened to come out one day, and started snow flurries and everything else like that, and this little 6-month-old puppy at the time comes out of the woods, shivering and stuff. Actually came out with a cat. The guy said him and the cat were hanging out, surviving together, cuddling and stuff to stay warm. So God directed me to take him, and looking back, it was just ridiculous how everything ordered. That's just like people say, oh, the Big Bang, it's all by chance. We're in the perfect spot in the atmosphere, surrounding the sun perfectly tilted at the right angle. All these things are just so perfect, and it's by chance. No, it was God that put all that together. And just like I believe at that point in time in my life, after Dixie had passed and other things going down in my life, God was like, yeah, well, this little fella needs you, and you're going to need him. So I believe God directed Buck, and it worked out for his advantage. He got to, he went from living off pretty much, maybe a little food here and there, but acorns and cuddling with a cat to stay warm. I guess when he made it back to the shed, he would get in the shed for, to stay dry when it would rain and stuff like that. But he went from that to 2 to 3 meals a day. Someone who plays with him, takes care of him, a roof over his head. Not only a roof over his head, this little sucker, as y'all have seen all my other stuff, he's sitting on a leather couch. He jumps in a bed. He is well taken care of. Always has something to chew on instead of my belts and stuff. But that all being said, I just want to say it pays when we listen to God's direction. And it also, it can be definitely a hindrance and can cause us pain and discomfort when we don't listen to His direction. He has the foreknowledge of the future. He's outside of time. He created time. But if we seek Him in His will, we can avoid many, not all because it's an imperfect fallen world, but we can avoid many difficulties and heartaches and struggles in this life. And those that we cannot avoid, as a believer, I do believe that God can use those things for our good. He works all things out together for the good of those who believe and are called to His purpose, which we all are. if we submit ourselves unto his direction. But I wonder if he would even survive, if he would even been alive, if he hadn't, it says God loves the sparrows. He feeds the sparrows. So that's why I believe God directed this little fella to come out at that spot at that time to meet us and for me to take him home. If he wouldn't have, it gets a little cold in Kentucky. He may have frozen to death. He may have starved to death. He may have, I know when I went and got him checked out or anything like that, he had a lot of parasites from living off acorns and anything he could find. So there's probably a very good chance that he would not be alive. And if he was alive, he definitely wouldn't be as loved and as healthy as he is now. Isn't that right, little buddy? Anyway, I do pray all of y'all are doing well. I just want to go through a couple scriptures. First one being Deuteronomy 28, 1 and 2. And if you faithfully obey the voice of the Lord your God, being careful to do all his commandments that I command you today, the Lord your God will set you high above all the nations of the earth, and all the blessings shall come upon you and overtake you if you obey the voice of the Lord your God. Of course, Deuteronomy, that's where we get the Ten Commandments. That's where Moses is speaking to the children of Israel, the chosen people, that if they obey God and follow his commandments, they are set apart and will be taken care of. Also in Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 20, it says, listen to advice and accept instruction that you may gain wisdom in the future. Last but not least is Matthew 7:24. I believe this was a Sermon on the Mount where God is teaching, Jesus was teaching truth. And talking about, I believe at this point it was talking about the person who built their house upon the sand, and when the winds and the rain came and knocked it over, and then that individual who built their house upon the rock, which he was referring to the truth of God's word, when the rains came and the winds came, it withstood that because it was built on a solid foundation, the truth of God's word. Again, Matthew 7:24 says, therefore anyone who hears these words and puts them into practice is like the wise man who built his house upon the rock. That is because our direction and the wisdom that God put in his word, which stands the test of time. God is not held by time. He knows the future from the end. So we have to trust in his way and his direction. I pray everyone is doing well. I'm trying to hurry this up so it doesn't cut off, but I pray that these Thursday's thoughts do something for you. But, come on, give me a phone. Come here. This is all about you. It's all about you. Come here. You got to come say goodbye and show everybody a cute face because it was another doggone truth. Thank you for watching Thursday's Thoughts. And we will be here again next week. I have at least one more left for this little buddy. And see how God directs. But you guys keep us in your prayers. We'll keep you all in ours. We love you and thank you again for watching Thursday's Thoughts. It's all about you. Look at it, dude. The doggone truth.